Mr. Horn and Mr. Sims. The traditional disposal process can be slow and cumbersome. However, there are ways the process can go faster, such as doing certain reviews at the same time. What are the VA and GSA doing to look for these efficiencies?
Sure, we agree with that. When we actually engaged GSA early in the process to do what we call a targeted asset review of the facility that helped us line up what due diligence was completed and what due diligence still needed to be done before any kind of transaction could occur. So we got that on the radar, and we were able to complete some of that due diligence before we accessed to GSA. Now that it's been accessed to GSA, we're working with them on dual tracking both the remaining due diligence for environmental, historic, and things like that, as well as the federal screening process and some of the other GSA steps.
When we look at our disposal, the traditional disposal process, sort of plotted out on a line, and you have areas where you diverge if there's federal interest, if there's homeless interest, and so what we're doing is doing as much of that screening concurrently as possible while we're doing the phase one. Speaking specifically about Pittsburgh, while we're doing the phase one environmental assessment, so we're able to compress the time frame a little bit. The other thing that we've been able to do is to give the city access. Mr. Ackland mentioned the central utility plant. We've given the city access to the facility so that they can review what their investment might need to be, what work might need to be done prior to taking title, so that they're able to do some of that due diligence up front.
Mr. Horn, are there ways that the city can help speed up this process? I understand there are certain studies and reviews that need to be done. Is there a mechanism for the city to help complete any of those?
I think some of that will depend on what we find in the phase one environmental assessment. I think the one thing I do know is that we're committed to a partnership with the city, and we'll continue to work together on what we find going forward.
And this question is to Mr. Horn and Mr. Sims. Obviously, I'm very concerned and interested that this process moves quickly because, as I said, the meter's running and the taxpayers are paying as we speak. So do both of you commit to providing this committee with regular updates on the Pittsburgh disposal and alerting us to any potential delays or problems?
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. The chair now recognizes Mr. DePazio for 5 minutes.